Season. Happy to be joined by Mike Clement on the Farm Bureau guest line. Although that's actually right here in person inside the home ballpark, Swayze Field. He is, of course, the hitting coach and the third base coach, and he's a national championship assistant coach, I've heard.
Yeah, that's what I heard too.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you. Enjoyed the ride. Can't believe it's a quick off season, but that's what you want, and here we are, ready to kick it off and try to climb that mountain again.
Yeah, it does make for a shorter off season, but I'm assuming it's a trade-off that as a baseball coach you're willing to make.
Every year. Yeah. I'm perfectly fine with that. I have listened to your show when I come home from practice on the way home. I assume that you have mentioned it most days, right?
Not as many days as Hey Dad did last year. That was a thing where it was an every single day thing that I heard about.
So I listened a lot more this fall, winter, and spring. I got a little tired of it last year, and so, clicked on some music or something else last year as I was driving home.
Hey, Alex, you tell Laff he can come on in. We'll move everything for him. We'll rearrange stuff. We'll make sure that it doesn't mess up the video stream. We'll get in here and snuggle. Kind of some tight quarters here in the visiting radio booth, but there we go. Just do live radio. Why not? Good to be with you. Sports Talk Mississippi this afternoon. So if you're watching on SuperTalk TV, immediately to my right, Mike Clement, and to his right, Carl Lafferty. You guys, between the two of you, you're closing in on a head of hair.
Oh, come on. Listen,
between the two of you.
I cut mine this way.
Okay.
God did that to him.
Yes, God did. He did. 3 beautiful children.
You do have 3 beautiful children, beautiful wife, great family.
That's right.
There's a lot of good, right?
A lot of good.
So if you got to sacrifice hair, you're okay with it?
I am.
What has for the two of you guys, what's the build-up to this season been like? Because it's a different off-season than either of you have ever experienced before.
Yeah, for sure. The cool thing about coaching at this place, the expectations are always pretty high.
I've heard that.
But probably a little more of a fever pitch coming into this year, and all the pregame festivities and all the things that happen in the fall that you're well aware of, and certainly a lot more pats on the back, which are fun. It's awesome, and we feel like we have a really good club again, so it's exciting.
What did it mean on the recruiting trail?
Yeah.
Now, I understand that you're recruiting preschoolers at this point. Like, the baseball calendar is so far out.
Correct.
But in terms of existing relationships and also starting to build new relationships, did it have a tangible effect?
It does, and I think sometimes it's hard to notice, especially rolling right off the plane into recruiting season last summer. I think you're really there. Winning the national championship's great, but probably one of the things that comes with it as a recruiting coordinator is you realize you haven't been on the road for a while and everybody else has. So there's that twinge in your stomach where you're like, hey, I've got to get out and see players. And so it almost feels like business as usual, because you just get back in the same normal routine. But, hindsight, you look back on it, and obviously new opportunities. New connections that you make, people that reach out and have interest in the program because of what they saw transpire in Omaha with not only us winning but the fan reaction and the support there, and that causes them to dive in a little bit more and look around and go, hey man, Oxford, Mississippi is a really cool place to play college baseball. So it has certainly had an impact and an effect, and I think I feel it the further we get away from it.
Clem, I did not see you post-game in Omaha, but laugh at hair jokes aside. One of the coolest moments for me as part of that Omaha experience was seeing you in the lobby, and we sat and visited for, 15 minutes on that Sunday night after it was all said and done, and just kind of watching people come and go and kind of getting to watch you soak it in. It was really neat. I asked Mike this yesterday when I sat down and visited with him. Was there a point, or when was the point after you got back to Oxford, after the celebration was over, where you sat down by yourself, back porch, with your wife, whatever, and kind of exhaled, and you're like, that really happened?
For me, you're going to laugh. It was our Christmas card. Like, it was Christmas before it really sunk in for me, because kind of what I said about the recruiting, man, you hit the ground running and you're flying. Like, you are just going. Then your new team's rolling in and you're going. Really, the first time we slow down is after Thanksgiving, when our guys are out of here, there's no recruiting to be done, and you start to think about it. And I remember my wife getting a Christmas card made, and that was a picture, our family with the trophy on the field. And as Clem will tell you, like I'll shoot him a text like, "Hey man, we won the national championship." And so I think it was probably a little further away from me.
How about you?
Yeah, I think every year Mike forces Laff and I to take a vacation in August right before school starts, and my wife and
Does he foot the bill for that?
No, you know what?
He forces you to do it. I mean, it just feels like
he should.
He's well compensated.
Yeah.
He is. We went to Destin and sat on the beach, and
I'll pitch that idea to him for you.
Please do.
Please do.
And had a national championship koozie and looked down and was like, no way. Like, it happened. Now, the other time it sets in, and Laff said it, occasionally we talk more to each other than we do our wives just because of the nature of what we do. But we'll be talking about a recruit on the phone, or we'll be in a hotel in Atlanta recruiting in the summer, and Laff's pretty good about interrupting just a serious recruiting conversation, be like, hey, we're national champions. So those moments, and they sound trivial, are really cool because it did happen. And I don't know that it's completely set in for me, and I don't know when that happens. But just like tough losses, like 2018, when I get over that, I'll let you know. And so I don't know that it's completely sunk in yet, even with everything that's gone on in the last 7 or 8 months.
The relationship that the two of you have strikes me as a little unique in college baseball, because I know you're close friends and your families are friends, and you work kind of offices are beside each other. I don't know that exists on every coaching staff. I mean, you guys would have a better idea of that. I mean, I would think that most staffs get along, but I'm curious if the relationship the two of you have exists elsewhere.
I let him know how lucky he is every day, he and my wife. But I think that is something that is unique. Probably the biggest thing for Clem is I think he balances me out really well. Like our personalities
you
can
complete him.
Yeah. I can get really worked up about things, and he can be a very calming influence. But it's exactly what you say. I mean, the cool thing is, obviously coming to the field's fun, being around our guys, being in that office, not just with Clem, but with the rest of our staff. But even on the road in the summers, that's probably when it really, really hits home for me.
So this might be uncomfortable for me to throw at you both, and I don't mean for it to be. I think I know the two of you well enough to know that at some point both of you would like the opportunity to run your own program.
Sure.
And I think I know that both of you have had opportunities to do that, but maybe it wasn't the right spot or the right time. You're in kind of a unique place in that you're in the best conference in the country, at a place where you just won a national championship, where the facilities are unbelievable, and it kind of limits the opportunities that make sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, in a weird way, it really does. Like the beauty of coaching in this league for the guy that we coach for, with the security that he has, especially now, it would take something real. And I think it goes back to relationships, at least for me. I don't want to speak for Laff, but your last question, I think, lands really heavily for me when I'm making those decisions. Whenever they come up, it's we're at a great place, and the fans and well compensated. All of those things are true, but it's really more about the relationships. Our wives are friends. We happen to be the same age, and our kids are in about the same age, and so it makes this place really cool. And Oxford itself is a really neat place. As you know, you live here and have for a really long time, but so it's not lost on me that I'd love to run my own program at some point, but I'm not in such a hurry to do that I want to just give up this, because I think us as young coaches, I know for me that has been at 4 different programs, the hope when I was at UTSA raking the field was I just want to get to a place where I can coach and have a chance to win a national championship. And so now that I'm at that place, I'm not in a hurry to leave.
And I think he said it really well, all the points that he made, but I think even beyond that, you look at your family. And so where I'm raising my kids, my wife being, Ole Miss alum, her parents an hour away, and the fact that I wake up excited to go to the office every day, I mean, that's not lost on me.
You guys have time to hang to talk about this team a little years in a row to get to do this at a ballpark in the state of Mississippi. We were in Starkville a year ago today, and to get to be here, it really – I know it's not lost on you guys, and I'm not excluding Southern Miss. I mean, you played them in the Super Regional a year ago, and I think, like me and everybody, think the world of Scott Berry. Golly, this state, college baseball, just kind of across the board, it's just insane. I'm thankful for it. There aren't many sports talk radio shows in America that get to spend as much time talking about college baseball as we do.
No, it's I use the line in recruiting a lot when you start talking about the actual population of the state. 3 million, maybe a little less.
Yeah.
There's more people like in Pinellas County, Florida, than in our entire state. And you're talking about 3 college baseball programs that are as good as any that host regionals, compete on the national stage year in and year out. So it's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Turning the page to this team, which, by the way, has to happen tomorrow. Have you guys seen any signs that concern you about the actual team's ability to say, that was last year, and now we got to start over?
If we say yes to that today, we ought to be fired. No.
Like, wow, that guy is really honest. He is really honest.
The core group that we have back as people, and we lost some really good ones in Elko and Graham and Bench and Dunhurst and those guys, but the core group that we have back, they're good dudes, and so they love to work, they love to go about their business, and certainly they have enjoyed what comes with winning a national championship. I think, but I feel like there's been a really good balance of being able to enjoy that, which you should, and understanding, like Mike says in our team meetings, there's 40 guys in there and 20 of them didn't win a national championship. And so the leadership, from Garrett Wood. And
it's got to be a bummer for those guys.
Yeah, hopefully they can get their own. But I'm sure there was some jealousy going through watching our guys do the Walk of Champions and seeing the rings and all of those things. But the character of our leadership, I think, is really strong. And then let's be honest, the other thing I think that probably no one talks about, the best prospect on our team by far is Jacob Gonzalez. And that guy would just as soon go to the dentist and get a root canal than stand here and put this headset on and talk to the media. And so just by nature, he's humble. And I think when other guys look at that and what he is, and they're like, well, doesn't have a huge ego. Like, who am I to? So I think that goes a long way. He's not going to be super vocal, but the way he goes about his business radiates off of him to other people.
You're going to run a guy on the mound tomorrow that was pretty good as a true freshman in Hunter Elliott. I asked Mike this yesterday. I'm curious your response. In terms of growth, from a guy that was a freshman All-American and pitched on the absolute biggest stage and pitched really well on the biggest of stages, what is his next step in terms of development?
Well, the biggest thing was he kind of, he wasn't in the starting rotation at the beginning of the year. So he's a guy that came on and obviously was terrific, and then, finishes the summer on a high, pitching for Team USA and performing well there. I think now, you're coming into the league where everybody knows about you. And there's been some individual development, like he's worked on some specific things like his breaking ball. But it's the ability to be the Friday night guy that is consistent. Not perfect. And I think that's a hard thing, too. After you've had such a great year, internally kids can expect, literally they think they're supposed to walk on water. They're supposed to throw a shutout every game. But can you just be really consistent? Can you be the same guy? Can you post 14 weeks in a row and consistently be the workhorse for that staff? And so I think that's a different deal. I mean, you saw it, Nikhazy obviously made that transition really well from his freshman to sophomore year and continued on. And, the cool thing about Hunter is just the intangibles. He's such a competitor. He loves to be out there. He loves to compete. So I'm excited to watch him throw tomorrow.
Quick scout on the other two guys that we're going to see this weekend in Grayson Saunier and Xavier Rivas.
Yeah, Saunier, really talented freshman, fastball 91, 95.
He's going into scouting report mode.
Yeah, I am.
Just immediately he went straight to 91, 95, get a good breaking ball. Slider, plus.
It's a 4-pitch mix. Polished, for a young guy. Xavier Rivas, left-hander, 88, 92, 2 different breaking balls. Competitor, high-energy guy. Both guys, both of them have had really good falls and springs.
Clem, I want to ask you about a development of a specific player. So Kemp Alderman 2 years ago, I felt like the way people described him was country strong. Yeah. And then you saw him hit a baseball, and you're like, good gosh. Ball jumps off his bat. It sounds different. It looks different. And he has the massive hit against LSU 2 years ago, the Grand Slam, the comeback, and all those things. But he also looked bad a lot at the plate. Swung at a lot of stuff, couldn't hit a breaking ball. And then last year, he makes this massive jump to look like a hitter as opposed to just a swinger. Bad. Sorry. To look like a hitter as opposed to a guy that just swings freely at the baseball.
Keep rolling, Richard.
I just needed to adjust that for a second. How does that development happen, and what is the next step in his development?
Well, I think it's a couple things for Kemp. He probably swung and missed at 60% of the pitches that were thrown to the plate the fall of his freshman year, like you said, and was just a little bit overmatched and overwhelmed, probably more overwhelmed than he was overmatched. And he's a guy of comfort, and so he was just never able to get there. He had the big hit against LSU. That was one of 2 hits he had on the year. You know, we were going to redshirt him, and we kind of pulled that off. We felt like we needed another bat, and it didn't.
You're only going to get 2. That was a good one.
Yeah,
for one of those.
No doubt, it didn't pan out for him. He didn't even travel with us to the Super Regional in Tucson, and a year ago right now we didn't know what we had. The big development probably was for him to go off and play summer ball. You know, he went out to Maryland and played all summer after his freshman year and was able to get a ton of at-bats. And he was really a much better hitter than what he showed as a freshman. He just was never able to get in the lineup, never able to see a bunch of pitches. And then last year, you know, he had a good fall, and we made the decision that he's going to be in our lineup every day. And it was amazing and a little bit surprising even to me that he was going to be able to spit on breaking balls as well as he did all year last year. It got to the point where I felt like there were different times over the course of our season where I felt like he had our best approach of anyone, 1 through 9, and felt like he was going to spit on breaking balls. And then you couple that with the physical tools that he has, just the ability to hit a ball as hard as anybody I've ever coached. Really, anybody I've ever coached, and now he's got the bat-to-ball skills, and his development has been incredible. It absolutely incredible.
Laff, let me ask you about 2 guys on the staff. Jack Doherty, who goes out and delivers these 5 magical innings that maybe are the difference in winning a national championship and not winning a national championship, and he's not in the rotation to start the season. What's that conversation? What is his role?
Well, his role this weekend is to be our closer.
Okay.
And first,
true closer, or
no, he can go out and give you some length. We worked him up as a starter, and certainly by all stretches, Jack could start. Like he pitched well enough to 100% start. But probably where there's a lot of newness is the pitching staff, having a lot of young guys, and losing Josh Mallitz, who was the guy that was potentially going to be at the end of the game for us. We're looking at the bullpen, and we really want to solidify that moving forward. And so Jack gives you that, for lack of better terminology, he's a Swiss Army knife. He can start, he can pitch out of the back end because he's done it so much. He's got great stuff. His stuff has taken a step forward, not from a velocity standpoint, but his secondary stuff's even better. And so that's the thing. As we go through this non-conference schedule, you may wake up and Jack Doherty may be starting for us.
Sure.
But there's just a lot of unknowns of guys that maybe haven't been out there, and having someone with some experience to come in a close game to close it out, especially early, while other guys get experience, is good.
Can he go a couple times in a weekend?
Early,
maybe.
He? Yes. It all depends on how long he goes. And what I mean by that, if he goes out there and runs, 45, 50 pitches.
Sure, yeah. But, if he goes out and gets you 2 outs on 7 pitches to close out a game, he can turn around and go Saturday or Sunday.
100%.
Okay.
He absolutely can do that, especially like in the true sense of a closer's role, meaning I'm going to come in and throw the 9th inning, similar to what you saw Taylor Broadway do.
Sure.
But the cool thing about Jack is you can get to the 6th inning, and it can be a close game, and you can put him in, and it's over. And that's the unique thing that he brings to the table.
Can't tell you both how much